Imagine a garden where 4 rectangular grounds are walled within intersecting water channels. Stone walkways lead you across the different quarters of the garden. The water flows into tanks called haws, each studded with a fountain. The water threads through the garden, creating a symphony of sound and a cool refuge from the heat. Lining the garden quarters are thoughtfully curated fruit trees, cypress, and shade-giving banyan trees. In the center lies a baradari, an open pavilion adorned with intricate stonework, delicate inlays, and decorative tiles, offering spaces for contemplation and rest. This is a Mughal garden, a popular garden design throughout the northern Indian subcontinent. Now let me take you through an exercise. Type a beautiful garden into any AI image generator: Soro, DALL-E, Stable Diffusion, Midjourney. I've done this many times over on different platforms in the last couple of years. 90% results of a beautiful garden are manicured English or French gardens. Colorful plants, geometric forms, a winding pathway made of stone or gravel. Not one showed a Japanese Zen garden or a Mughal garden, just like the one I described to you. Image generators have learned what a default image of a garden is, and apparently it's a Western-style garden. Even generating images for a traditional architecture will give you Victorian houses, Gothic architecture, or derivations of Greek columns, never a Malian mud mosque, a Central Asian yurt, or a Dravidian temple. Several researchers have shown that AI systems aren't neutral. Their assumptions about the world matter more than you might think. We are not just generating images, we are watching these systems create and reinforce cultural norms through images. Every default image teaches us something about whose version of reality gets to be normal. AI networks trained predominantly on Western datasets don't just replicate bias when they become the default creative tools. They make Western aesthetic conventions appear natural and universal while rendering other visual traditions invisible or exotic. The current frenzy of generative AI image making is about production of visual knowledge. To understand the scale of what's happening, consider this. 15 billion images were generated using AI in a single year since DALL-E 2's beta launch in 2022. That's approximately the same number of photographs we humans took in 150 years since camera was invented. 150 years of human photography. Every wedding photo, every portrait of a political leader, every birthday celebration, every artistic experiment matched by AI in 12 months. But it's not just the volume, it's the quality of images flooding our feeds. The current diffusion models are used to produce what can only be described as AI slop. I'm sure you're familiar with these images. Pope Francis in a white puffer Balenciaga jacket, or 100 variations of shrimp Jesus. Mass-produced aesthetic fast food. It is estimated that AI-generated images will make up over 30% of the marketing content by the end of this year. Image making has become simpler. Just enter a few words to get an image. But the tools and the apparatus to make images have become more complex to the point of being a black box. We do not fully understand how neural networks conjure these images. The systems are shielded from scrutiny, wrapped up in proprietary codes, and hidden from regulation and accountability. One of the oldest creative acts of making images has been relegated to systems we can neither fully comprehend nor question. And as we have seen, these systems have a very particular idea about what gardens should look like or which architecture matters. So what do I mean by different ways of seeing? How different cultures frame and compose the world in images. In Indian miniature paintings, gardens are viewed from a perspective that could seem impossible for Western visual system. The elements in the miniature paintings are arranged for a viewer who is floating above the scene, looking down at the Mughal garden, while simultaneously getting a view from the sides, seeing the profiles of the human figures in the gardens. Multiple viewpoints collapse in that one frame. In some cases, the same figure appears in different parts of the garden, weaving their movement in one space. There is no one focal point to start looking from, so the viewer gets different viewpoints and multiple perspectives. The primacy of linear perspective in Western visual style took hold during the Renaissance. Later, even with the inclusion of angular perspectives and oblique views, the emphasis was on uniformity and accentuating the illusion of reality. The garden in Western perspective is seen from the point of view of someone who is standing in one spot. They see paths recede into vanishing points and trees diminish in size with distance, creating an illusion of depth. Elements in the image are organized into background, middle ground, and foreground. The machine learning processes part of generative AI quantify seeing, which means that an image can be reduced to formal qualities that can be mapped and computed into patterns that can be recognized. So when you ask any AI image generator for an image of a garden, the single point perspective of Western visuals is presented. A worldview that is deeply embedded in the training data, consisting of photographs that follow these aesthetic principles. We need different ways of seeing, and we must insist that our image-making tools reflect this diversity. A miniature painter understood that a Mughal garden could be experienced from multiple viewpoints simultaneously. A Japanese garden designer plays with the expression of negative space. An indigenous artist sees the land from above and within at the same time, mapping song lines that are both geographical and spiritual. If we allow AI to flatten these ways of seeing into one single Western perspectival model, we are losing different ways of being in the world, different relationships to space and time, different understandings of what it means to see and be seen. We can imagine machines learning to see differently. What if we trained AI on multiple perspectives of Indian miniatures, teaching it that a garden can be experienced from above and within simultaneously? What if we introduced it to indigenous ways of mapping, where landscape is geographical, historical, and narrative? Another way to consider AI image generation is to expand beyond the purely visual. Seeing in many cultures is multisensory. The Mughal garden is understood through the sounds of the water flowing and the songbirds, through feeling the textures of the marble and sandstone. Could we develop systems that understand images as synesthetic experiences? We must also question the relationship between text and image in the current AI diffusion models. It seems that the image-text pairing in the training and the generation of images means that the visible is enslaved to the sayable. If you cannot articulate it in words, it cannot exist as an image. This is strange because visuals actually express what words cannot capture. And this brings me to the last point. We must spend time in thinking deeply about whether machine vision should even try to capture what it cannot understand. The way afternoon light filters through the jali screens of a baradari, a pavilion in the Mughal garden, the geometry of the Mughal garden that is at once an irrigation system, an engineering accomplishment, and a cosmological map of heaven all at once. When seeing requires saying, we lose access to the ineffable and untranslatable. Some things perhaps should remain beyond the reach of computation and statistical prediction.